Jazzcast Pros.
Hello and welcome back to High Vibe Table Talks. I'm your host, Rashawn Hargrave. As this episode airs, it's going to be right during the holiday season. And I want to share a short anecdote with you first before we kind of get into the real bulk of this episode. I'm recording this in our bedroom right now, and I think it was 4 years ago where I was in this bedroom the day before Christmas Eve. And we have a lot of family, and we have a lot of family in town. And so it's a double-edged sword because, we've never had to pay for a babysitter. And my mother-in-law was our daycare up until our daughter went to kindergarten. And my daughter got to do, a yes day with my stepmom yesterday. The other side of that is that holidays are very chaotic because having family that does so much for us, I can't imagine not seeing them on a holiday from both sides, And so it's a lot of places to be in a short amount of time. And so I was just doing the timeline of the different days because we, go to a couple different places on Christmas Eve. We used to go to a couple places on Christmas. We have since stopped that. But I was just doing the timeline, and I just sat down on our bed and started sobbing. And my husband was like, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "No matter what I do, it's not enough for everybody." And it was just this, because we have to be here at this time, and then you're watching the clock, waiting because you're, counting down the minutes until you have to leave. And is this family going to get enough time? And is this family member going to feel jealous of the others, and managing all these feelings? And did I forget to move the goddamn elf again? And, just this time of year, especially if you are the magic maker in the household, which I love being, can sometimes be did I do enough? Or I didn't do enough, and feeling a lot of guilt around that. And my husband was just like, that is a them problem. You're doing everything you can, and you're doing it well. And you're good, which I probably didn't take well in the moment. But so I just want this episode to be a reminder that you are enough, that everything you're doing is enough. And when you close your laptop at the end of the day, when you put your phone down, when you lay your head on your pillow, I want this to be a reminder that everything you're doing is enough. Welcome to High Vibe Table Talks, the podcast to help you, the current or aspiring solopreneur, navigate the messy middle so you can make both an income and an impact. Hi, I'm Rashawn, and I love creating safe spaces for women to be courageous in their dreams. After spending a decade working in sales for a startup and talking with hundreds of other women entrepreneurs, I know it can be lonely, but you can do this. We are having impactful conversations with people walking similar paths to you, so pull up a seat. This is High Vibe Table Talks. I was listening to a book recently. This is probably the only thing I took from that book because it was not a particularly good book. It was probably one of the worst books I've read all year. But one of the concepts that was interesting that I took from it was talking about greed. And greed isn't a headspace of wanting more. It's being afraid of losing what you've already had, so you just continue to accumulate. And it's more of a fear of loss than craving of more. And I was like, that's a really interesting concept. And in it, he was talking about, again, this is a fiction book. This isn't a business or a self-growth book. But he was talking about life is constantly moving. So you're either going forward or you're going backwards. You're never staying stagnant. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, because that puts us in this mindset of the hamster wheel or being on a treadmill and just constantly hustling to be moving forward. And it can negate the importance of rest and gratitude for where we are. This time of year, one of my favorite things to do at night, and actually my daughter, was really cute. She was talking about it the other day. But one of my favorite things to do is at night after dinner, whether we're watching TV or it's after, she goes to bed, and I just turn off all the lights, turn off the TV, and just have the Christmas lights on between the Christmas tree, and I have lights at other places. And the ambiance of that is just one of my most favorite things ever. And my daughter, we turned the Christmas tree on the other day. She goes, I love, like, the lights look so pretty, but they just look even prettier at night. And I'm like, yes, you get it. And to sit there and just really like soak everything in. And I want this to be your reminder to do that. You know, we're coming up on a time of year where people are going to be talking about, look at what I did. Look at all these accomplishments that I had. Look at these goals that I checked off. Look at these goals that I have for next year. Look at how I'm going to 2x my income next year, so on and so forth, and all about the doing versus the being. And in a season where there is a lot of doing, there's a lot of activities, there's a lot of action happening, you know, lists are being created and things are being checked off. And while those are all important, to be able to step back and say, I don't need to do more. I need to sit and enjoy the Christmas lights for a little bit tonight. And going back to an episode I did within the last 2 months, remembering your 3 currencies, your time, your energy, and your money. And how can you feel abundance around all of those, no matter kind of where they are. And so remembering to take some time to plan things out and saying no to things and blocking off parts of your calendar or your day from, you know, being consumed by something else. Your energy. So making sure you are getting enough sleep, even if you have to wake up at 2:00 in the morning because you forgot to move that dang elf again. It's only December right now when I am recording this. It's only December 7th. I've only forgotten to move the elf once, but I've had to wake up at like 5:00 in the morning twice. So of 7, I'm, 4 for 7 and doing it well. Remembering to protect your energy. And so not spending too much time around people that drain you or doing things that drain your energy. We're, of course, always going to have to do some of those things, but being really conscious about when and where you choose to do that. And your money, being really intentional with your money. So I said in the last episode, bringing awareness to shopping small, shopping local, that has a much bigger impact than I think sometimes we remember. And also not like spending money just to say, aren't I enough? Look at all this money I spent on you. I know that like my daughter's favorite, like she has the closest relationship with people who spend time with her. Like it isn't about like, look at all the stuff I bought for you. It's like, no, my sister takes her to the library for Lego Club, and like that's free because it's at the library, but it's time spent together doing something that my daughter loves, which is Legos. Like that sort of stuff is important. And so when you say yes with your time, energy, money to certain things, remember that you are saying no to others. And so regardless of what your season you're in right now, again, you are enough. You are enough for the season that you're in, for the people that are in your lives. You are enough for yourself. You are enough. And the last piece of this, if you are in a season where you're not seeing a lot of things blooming, it's a reminder that nature rests. Right now, like I'm looking out at our property that has a bunch of snow on it. And there are a lot of good things that are happening underground right now, even though, you may not see it in your day-to-day. If you have plants that come back year after year, like they're getting sturdier in their roots right now because that's where they're pouring their resources, which is all of their energy. Like in the vegetable garden where I replant year after year, like the worms and the bugs and the critters and the bacteria, they're all doing their work to get it ready for the next season. And so a lot of good things are happening that you can't necessarily see. And so thinking about the rest, not as like taking a break or not being productive or not doing enough, it can bring clarity. It can bring new information. It can bring joyfulness. It can bring curiosity. I was listening to a parenting podcast. Dr. Becky was on the Trevor Noah podcast, which was really good. And a lot of what she was talking about, like in handling tense moments with our children, but leading in curiosity. And I think that is such a good way to go about leading with a lot of problems that we have, like not going at our, tantrums or frictions with our children or issues that come up, whether it's in like the sales process or marketing or with a customer or with your VA or whoever you are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, but coming at it from a place of curiosity. Well, why are you having a hard time with that? Like, what is the actual emotion that you're feeling right now? Why do you think that now's not a good time? Why is 3 months from now a better time than right now for us to work together? Why do you think, what is going to be different in 3 months that you don't have in place right now? And it's not out of a place of manipulation when it comes to like the sales process. It's genuine curiosity. Maybe you are like bringing on a VA, and so right now is not a good moment to bring on a sales course. Okay, that makes total sense. Can we get something on the books during that time? Or are there ways that we can work together right now so that when it is time for you to come on to the course, your VA has X, Y, and Z prepared for you? Or the point is that curiosity is such a powerful place to come from when you are finding friction. I don't know how I got on that tangent at all. But, just taking some space of being enough and resting and being the relaxed entrepreneur can be so powerful for you. And as we're getting towards the new year, there's, we have these big dreams and we have aspirations, and, my mindset can sometimes turn into like, if I just do more faster, I'll get to where I want to be. I haven't woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning on purpose, other than to move that damn elf, in years. But I think I'm going to do it 5 days a week, all of a sudden, because it's January 3rd. No, but we just picture this life that we want to have, and we start to say to ourselves, when I do this, then I'll be enough. When I, lose this weight, then I'll be enough. When I run a 5K, then I'll be enough. When I'm reading a book a week, then I'll be enough. Then I will. And just start to bring awareness to when your brain goes to that and say, I am enough the way that I am. I am evolving, and I am excited to see the future version of myself, and I love this version of myself as well. Just a gentle reminder to say during this crazy season, where I know there are many times where I don't feel like I am doing enough, being enough, creating enough, being successful enough, that you are enough just the way you are. Again, like when I started doing self-growth work and even writing out I am enough would make me shrink, would make me tear up, would make me like put my pen down and like catch my breath, because it felt so untrue. It felt like absolutely it's not true. I was not enough, and that's therapy has helped with a lot of that too. Therapy has just helped me come back to myself, but it's definitely something that triggers me and has triggered me quite a bit in the past, just not being enough. And maybe I'll get into more of that at some point, but yeah, you're enough. And hopefully hearing that enough, if that is something that you are struggling with, then you will start to be able to accept as truth as well. And maybe I'm just a little building block onto that. Until next time, remember that big dreams and small steps will transform your life.